Welcome to this new episode, where we will delve into one of the most unsettling and terrifying phenomena: spontaneous human combustion. Spontaneous human combustion, or SHC, is a phenomenon where a human body allegedly catches fire without any external source of ignition. It has been a topic of fascination and controversy for centuries, with various reports and anecdotes describing cases where individuals are found burned to death, seemingly without any external cause. In most reported cases of SHC, the body is severely burned, often to the point of being reduced to ashes, while nearby objects remain relatively unscathed or only slightly damaged. The fire often seems to be localized, affecting the torso and leaving the extremities like hands and feet intact. Victims are often found in circumstances where no external source of ignition, such as a flame or spark, is evident. This has led to the idea that the fire might originate from within the body. In many cases, it is believed that the body's fat acts as fuel for the fire, which might explain why the body burns so completely in some instances. One of the most compelling cases of spontaneous human combustion is that of Mrs. Mary Hardy Reeser. What follows is an account of her mysterious death. On July 2, 1951, a small apartment in St. Petersburg, Florida, became the epicenter of one of the most bizarre and unsettling mysteries of the 20th century. Mary Hardy Reeser was a 67-year-old widow living alone in a small apartment. On the evening of July 1, 1951, her son, Richard Reeser, stopped by for a short visit. He noted that his mother was depressed. She had taken 2 sleeping pills and intended to go to bed soon. The next morning, on July 2nd, Mary Reeser's landlady, Mrs. Pansy Carpenter, stopped by to deliver a telegram. Mrs. Carpenter noticed something strange. A greasy, smoky odor filled the air, and the doorknob to Reeser's apartment was unusually hot. Alarmed, she called the police. When the authorities entered the apartment, they were confronted with an incredibly strange and disturbing scene. Mary Reeser's body had been almost completely incinerated, reduced to ashes. Only part of her left foot still in its slipper, a small section of her spine, and her skull remained. What made this scene even more baffling was the condition of the surrounding apartment. The heat required to cremate a human body so thoroughly typically ranges between 2,500 to 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit, temperatures that would cause significant damage to the environment. But in Reeser's case, the destruction was oddly selective. The chair she had been sitting in was mostly destroyed, but the nearby objects, such as a pile of newspapers and a stack of wooden shelves, were relatively undamaged. A layer of soot covered the upper half of the apartment walls and the ceiling. Electric outlets there had melted, but the switches below were still intact. There was no evidence of the widespread fire that would typically be necessary to reduce a body to ash. Because of these strange circumstances, some proposed that the cause of her death may have been spontaneous human combustion. The local police was baffled, so the FBI was called in to investigate. The FBI excluded the possibility of a lightning strike, since all the fuses in the apartment were intact. And after 3 weeks of investigation, they concluded that the fire was most likely accidental and possibly caused by a lit cigarette. They theorized that she may have fallen asleep while smoking, igniting her clothing and setting off what is known as the wick effect, where the body's fat fuels the fire much like a candle. But here's where things get interesting. Despite the FBI's theory, no cigarette butt was found that could be conclusively tied to the fire that consumed Mary Reeser. While smoking materials were found in her apartment, and she was indeed a known smoker, the precise ignition point in this case remains inconclusive. Mary Reeser's case isn't the only one of its kind. Throughout history, there have been over 150 documented incidents where individuals have been found burned beyond recognition, but with one or more extremities left intact, with little to no damage to their surroundings, and where no fire source could be identified. One of the earliest documented cases dates back to 1663, when a French woman was consumed by fire in her sleep. Oddly enough, her bed was found almost intact. The official reports leave us with more questions than answers. The concept of spontaneous human combustion has long fascinated and terrified people. Some think that the phenomenon isn't real, and that sources of ignition, such as candles, cigarettes, or lamps, were simply overlooked. However, the extreme localized burning is hard to explain. In alleged cases of SHC, the fire doesn't spread and damage is limited to the victim's body. How is this possible? In 2012, biologist Brian J. Ford stated that humans aren't inflammable. The mystery of SHC is not what initiates the burning, but what converts a watery specimen of non-combustible fat and flesh into a furnace. He then suggested that alcoholism, rigorous dieting, certain types of chronic illnesses, or even physical exhaustion may lead to buildup in the body of a substance called acetone. Acetone is a highly flammable organic compound, and in the presence of enough of this substance, a simple spark generated by static electricity could start a fire. This theory could provide a scientific explanation to the mystery. So what do you think of SHC? Is it a real phenomenon? If not, then what happened to Mary Reeser and in other similar cases? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this video intriguing, please don't forget to like and subscribe with all notifications on for more deep dives into the strangest events and phenomena. Thanks for watching, and until next time.